Greetings and welcome to Pinball Help. Mike here. Today I'm at the Houston Arcade Expo. Just opened a few moments ago. And I'm getting my first chance to play the new James Bond machine. And I wanted to give a few comments on my initial first impressions. I put about 10 games on it, and I'd like to just give you my first impression, which will be subject to change. And this is probably far from a final version of the code, too. But I got a chance to play the Premium and the Pro version. This is the Pro version you're looking at right now. And I'll tell you my first impressions just right off the bat. I think this is it's a very hard game. This is not an easy game. This almost reminds me a bit of Ghostbusters in terms of how it was in the early code, where you didn't really know what to shoot for, and there was a lot of tight shots. There's some problems that I have with this game initially, and it may all change. There's ways that it could be fixed, but I think there's some design problems with the playfield layout. First off, the plunger shoots into these pop-uppers up here, and then it exits through this little thing up there, which feeds it to either the out lane or the left slingshot. So every time you flip the ball into play, you potentially send the ball to the slingshots, which is incredibly risky. So you can lose the ball very quickly without even doing anything on this game. And these out lanes are real gobblers. I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about the fact that there's not even getting the ball into play is relatively high risk in this game. Another concern I have is that a lot of the important critical shots in this game are a bit too narrow. Let me walk around the other side and show you. So basically, the main multi-ball is right up here. You see the green dots. You got to hit those targets enough times to light the lock, and then you shoot the ball right up the center to light lock. Now, that looks like a pretty simple shot. You know, usually a shot straight up the center is really easy. This is deceptively difficult, and I'll show you why. Let me see if I can go over. I don't know if you can see it. So that center shot is at slightly an angle. It's going slightly this way. You can backhand it from the right flipper, and that's probably the safest bet, backhanding from the right flipper, but there has to be a dead stop. If the ball is fed to the right flipper, you cannot make that shot up the center, which I don't know if that's by design, but it makes it incredibly difficult. And the left flipper to the center is a very tight, narrow shot. You see, you've got this long corridor it has to go up before it'll even register. Long corridor before it'll go up, before it even registers. It registers way up here at the top. So you'll brick a whole bunch of seemingly easy shots just to lock the ball. It's very, I don't know, I think it should have been better designed. There's also not a ball save for if you go up here and put those right down and just drain it. There is a ball save sometimes if you do some of the loops or something. I think they're going to end up putting a much longer default ball save on this game because of the way the initial plunge feeds to either the left out lane or the left slingshot. So I am concerned. I think this is not an easily approachable game for casual players. You're going to have to really dial in the shots. Another important thing is one of the main shots that starts the modes are these two scoops on the right. This one in the middle is accessible from this upper flipper, but it's not a comfortable shot on it. It's almost a bit of a late shot on the flipper to make that henchman shot. So in order to start a lot of the modes, the shots are a lot more difficult. They're a lot tighter than what they might see. And while this right ramp shot looks like a pretty simple shot, when you look at it, it's also all the way to the right of the playfield. So it's a very late shot on the left flipper to even get it up there. Not at all easy. Same thing with the scoop. Those are all shots that are far to the right. And the further a shot is to the right or the left, the less time you have, less margin of error you have to be able to make that shot. They're a lot more difficult. Shots up the center are easier. This game has a lot of critical shots that are far left and far right. Same thing with this, let me get over here, excuse me. Same thing with this far left orbit shot. This far left orbit shot feeds up to this ramp. You have to hit it absolutely perfectly in order for it to go up here. It reminds me of that shot in Ghostbusters, where you got to go up the ramp. Now I know you know, it's disconcerting a little bit. Now, I did get a chance to play, and I put enough games on here where I did actually put the grand champion score on the machine, almost a billion. But I played and played and played, and it took me a long, long time to even get multi-ball, because that shoot 3 shots up there is a lot more difficult than it looks. So it's a fun game. I love the art package and the sound package and all of that, but I am not all that excited about it initially. Now, that may be subject to change, but I find that it reminds me a bit of Ghostbusters. The things that I didn't like about Ghostbusters, where you put a ball into play and you really didn't know what to do to get the modes going, and the shots to do it were incredibly difficult and very risky. This game has some of that issue, and I think it may turn off casual players. That's my initial impression. I find that the premium is a little bit easier to play than the pro, but they're both essentially the same game. And this center shot is a virtual lock, so as soon as you shoot it up there, there's another interesting thing. You'll start a mode by shooting like these ramps, and it'll do some kind of interstitial little cutscene there, and towards the end of the cutscene, it'll kick the ball loose. There's not a good indication, so they're going to have to modify some of the code. And of course, if you hit the flippers, the cutscene interrupts and the ball gets loose, but you may not be aware of that when it traps the ball right here and shows you the cutscene. So there's a few little code things that obviously need to be worked out. You can't tell from the display what the status is. You can see it just shows you some weird stuff on the screen, but it doesn't show you your progress towards any of the modes, which I assume they're going to fix that, because that's just, you know, see, every once in a while something will pop up. There's not a lot of lights on the playfield to indicate your progress. Now, I don't know all the rule set completely, but I do think it's a beautiful machine. I'm looking forward to getting more games on it, but initial impressions are a lot of tight shots, a lot of risky shots right off the bat, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. So that's it. Stay tuned for more, and thanks everybody for watching.